You're tuned in to Zoroverse.
Let's do this.
All right.
Recording.
It's recording. Okay.
Oh damn. Is my pose okay?
How's the yeah?
You're so cute. No, it looks good. Looks professional.
Yeah.
Also, casual, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
We love to, listen to some casual people.
Casual and professional. Welcome back to Zoroverse. We're here today on the beach of Udvada, and we're chatting with a very, very close friend of mine, but also a very, very highly respected priest in the Zoroastrian community, Sherry, or Sheherazad. Please introduce yourself to us.
Thanks, Merwan. Very kind of you. I'm Sheherazad Pavri, or as Merwan calls me, Sherry, and I am an ordained priest. By profession, I work with a climate tech company, leading business development for them, and we offer sustainability reporting services along with a tech platform. And the morbid part is what would be of your interest in this podcast, I assume. And yes, so I got ordained as a morbid at the Dada Rathonan Institute, which is the only existing seminary in the world. And I've performed higher rituals. So yeah, that's me.
Wonderful, wonderful. So just a bit of context for the team and for the people watching this. We are on the Return to Roots 2023, Return to Roots 7, based in India, and it is day 5?
Yes.
It is day 5 for us today. Sherry is back as a volunteer, leading the group, taking us around and giving us a lot of insights and context in the spaces that we've been. Sherry, could you give us a bit of an overview of what we got up to today and a few of the value adds that you think the Return to Roots program is giving back to the community in Udvada and in India, and perhaps your most exciting part of the trip so far?
Well, to give you a little context, RTR, or Return to Roots, is a very integral part of my life ever since I was a participant back in 2016. I mean, born and brought up, lived all my life here in India. I'm from Mumbai. I've always been around Parsi surroundings, in a Parsi colony, going to a Parsi institution, and having all of that, access to all the community around me. Somehow people would wonder why I would sign up for a program like this to return to my roots, so to speak, when I'm like living in them. Back then I signed up just thinking that let's just check it out, let's see what the fuss is all about, and just get to meet people from other parts of the world to understand what life is like for them. And it was a transformation for me. I realized how blessed I am to have all of these institutions around me, access to so many people, so many opportunities, the kind of respect that I get living in this country simply because of the community that I belong to. It really made me realize that I'm blessed. And it also showed me something very important about the deep sense of entitlement that our community has today. And it just brought out a fire in me and made me realize that I have to give back to the community. I'm blessed with so much. It is my turn to give back to the community, and the least that I can do is volunteer for such a program. So it's the 5th time I'm here now, and it's been fun. We've had a great day today. For some of the participants, it is their first, probably their only time in Udvada, considering they come from Pakistani backgrounds and visas can be such a problem. You would know about that. You were one of them. Mervan was one of the participants who got his visa literally on the last day. I had to push him to go down to the consulate, make a lot of calls, push. It's gonna be there. You're gonna make it. And let's just say I'm in Udvada now, so I'm gonna use that term. With Iranshah's grace, he's made it here. But
grateful to be here.
Yeah,
truly.
we visited the Iranshah late last night for the midnight boy. It's a beautiful experience. We went down there in the morning. We got to interact with Vara Dastuji Khurshid Dastur, and thereafter a nice sumptuous lunch, followed by a service project. We assembled these kits that we are going to be donating to the senior citizens in the infirmaries and hospitals across Navsari, Surat and Mumbai, all of these Parsi institutions, and they could definitely do with, I mean, support is always going to be sporadic for such institutions, but when youth like us go there, it definitely puts them in the spotlight, and gives them that much deserved attention about what our illustrious ancestors have done and how we should continue supporting these institutions. We were just earlier when the sun was up, we were collecting trash and supporting the Clean and Green Udvada initiative. So it was a nice collab of Clean and Green Udvada and the Return to Roots thing right at my back.
Wonderful, Sherry. Sherry, I'm curious to hear, because it was really my first time ever doing a Midnight Boy in my entire life yesterday. But for you, as not only an ordained priest, an active community member, but someone who has attended the Return to Roots program as a group multiple times, how does the experience of this deeply spiritual experience of witnessing perhaps the holiest fire of the Zoroastrian tradition late at night, how does that experience change over the years? Does it change? What kind of emotions does it bring out for you? And I'd also like you to talk a little bit about the small interaction, the small lecture that you gave us about how to perform the Kusti prayers right before we went.
Sure.
To the
well, in terms of attending a boy ceremony, I feel it's a very personal experience. When you go in there to offer your respects, you may be in a different frame of mind. There may be whatever's going on in your life and you're going there to pay your respects. I feel going there with the mindset that I'm here to resolve my problem, help me. The fire's gonna take away your problems. You ask them questions and get solutions. That's what the fire has done for me over the years. And I've never performed an Atash Peram boy till date because of professional commitments, and I'm leading a secular life. I don't keep my head covered, and those are the kind of requirements, maintaining ritual purity through the day. So but I still have managed to perform the boy ceremony in an Adaran fires across multiple Agyaris, and even tending to the fire is a very special experience. The fact that I'm privileged to be one of those few to enter the sanctum and offer the boy ceremony. So sometimes even while offering the boy ceremony myself, that is a beautiful experience. And yes, the night one especially, more often than not, there's of course very few cases where there's going to be people around you at that time of the day, but it is a beautiful experience, I'd say.
Wonderful.
And I wanted to touch up on the part that you asked me about yesterday's session.
You're tuned in to Zoroverse.
So it actually stemmed from a requirement. If you don't mind me mentioning out here, you seem to be one of those people who kind of felt lost or disillusioned, and you'd be questioning what is the need for you to wear a sudreh kusti. So in hindsight, could I ask you a question first? Do you mind sharing what was it that you at some point decided to give up on the sudreh kusti and then decided to, and you wanted to wear it again? So what happened?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. It's become a reverse podcast. I had two Navjots. I had a public Navjot at the age of 12, 13, pre-puberty, and then I had a Navjot at the age of 19, which is a private Navjot that was basically me kind of just picking up the sudreh kusti again. And it's difficult to explain how it went down, because it was in some sense very, very conscious as a decision, but also subconscious in the sense that I was consciously moving back towards understanding my emotions, realizing and contemplating, asking questions about what the purpose and the meaning of life is, but also doing it in a way that might not have started as a Zoroastrian method per se. It wasn't like I was getting direct advice from Zoroastrian priests or from even community members. It was a very secular approach. It was a philosophical, non-committed approach to just asking the right
But you
questions.
committed, and I'm glad.
Yeah, and then it was only later, towards the end of May in 2021, that I realized that I have a form of structure of answers that is present through Zoroastrianism, and I think it's almost like my responsibility, or a kind of like, just by virtue of being born in a tradition, I have a kind of duty to give it the benefit of being the first that I select to understand. And honestly, it's been 3 years and I'm still just beginning to understand what the tradition, what the rituals, what the prayers, what the ideas of Zoroastrianism are about. I am now writing my thesis on Zoroastrian philosophy and architecture, which is something that I really wouldn't have imagined doing 4 years ago, and I couldn't be more grateful. One of the questions you asked was why I stopped wearing it. I think it comes down to two things. One was social pressure. Being a minority community in Pakistan, although we are a very privileged minority, it was still something that it was socially different, and at a time where you're trying to fit in, when you're trying to understand your own space in society, it is a factor that kind of removes you. That's something we spoke about earlier, where a lot of people used to make fun of the tail coming out from the back, or being able to see the sudreh through the shirt. These are small factors, but they are very, very influential, because you feel seen, you
At
feel
that age, yes.
witnessed at that age. And even right now, I have to say that I make an intentional effort to wear clothes that don't like reveal my sudreh underneath the shirt. And the reason for that is because for me, religion right now is a very private matter, and it is something that I truly hold very close to my heart, and it's not something that I think is easily understood out of context. So that's one. And the second is the sense of entitlement that we have as being grounded in a kind of community that is active. And I think the second perhaps is more strong than the first. It was only after I went to Singapore that it kind of, these questions and these answers were required.
So on a lighter note, Bollywood's not gonna feature this Pakistani Parsi hunk in a Sadra Kasti for sure anytime soon.
Bruh.
Well, coming back to what was discussed in that session yesterday, the fact that you come from the Parsi community in Pakistan, you still had what would be called a sense of community. You'd have like these Parsi colonies around you, and the Return to Roots program is designed for people who may or may not be coming from these backgrounds, and who are living currently in like really scattered places in the diaspora, and they lack that sense of identity over time. They really are looking out for who am I, where do I come from, who are my ancestors, and what is this great religion of Zoroastrianism about. And over the span of 2 weeks, we take this group of youngsters in the age category of 22 to 35 across places of cultural, historical importance. We meet up with eminent personalities, eminent Zoroastrian personalities wherever possible, who've been achievers in various walks of life. You talk about business, social work, philanthropy, you name it, we meet them. And interacting with these people gives them that sense of pride, like, wow, these are my folks, this is what has been done, and what can I do when I go back to where I come from. In terms of the religious practice, considering that their naujots were performed, that's the kind of last religious interaction that they may have had, and for whatever reasons within their community, they may not necessarily be enjoying or having a sense of community, or even attending gambars or jashans wherever they are happening. So what can be done to change that? Maybe looking inward for answers which may not have been enough led them to come for a trip like this. And in all probability, they've forgotten how to perform the kasti, and considering the way they were brought up, they find it really difficult to ask that question, that who's gonna teach me my kasti prayers again? What do I do when I go to a fire temple? And I don't blame them. they've never had access to fire temples around them. How do you expect them to know what's going on in there? So in that session, I explained to them in a nutshell a 101 of how to navigate through a fire temple when you're entering, how to perform the kusti prayers correctly, how to clean themselves properly before performing the kusti prayers, and little tidbits on the significance of what they're doing. Why do they need to clean up? Why do they need to perform the kusti? How to handle their shoes, not walk barefoot, how to keep their head covered properly, stuff like that. That was what was covered yesterday. And more importantly, giving them a timely nudge again that a trip like this is designed to answer those questions for them, so not to hold back. There are no silly questions, according to me. I am a silly person though.
That's wonderful, Sherry, and yeah, I completely agree. So here we have a volunteer who's been with the Return to Roots program for the past 5 years, juggling multiple religious and secular identities, and has been truly an important part of my own experience of understanding the Zoroastrian tradition. I can safely say that Sheherazad is one of the first few priests that I've interacted with in a very special way, because I first met you as a friend. We coincidentally landed in JFK airport at the same time. We jumped into a cab together, and it was only many days or maybe a few hours later that I really understood the gravity of the person that I was sitting next to.
But we hit it off at that very moment.
Absolutely, and I think that's the most important thing. Even something that we spoke about, another panel that you were hosting in the RTR, the Empowering Mobheads panel, which was to understand the role of a mobhead as a friend, as a companion who's there with you to mentor you in difficult times. And if you could give a short piece of advice to everyone watching, as putting on your mobhead hat, what would it be for the Zoroastrian community worldwide, and any community that has or looks up to or includes some kind of spiritual guide?
I'd say the first piece of advice would be stop bickering. Stop trying to think that we are the only ones that have problems. Everyone's imperfect, and the fact that we're a small community, it should make things easier to move forward progressively. So any problem could be solved through by sitting down together and having a good conversation. Isn't that right, buddy? Come in here.
Let's have a full shot. Zoom out.
Someone's trying to call me.
Okay, this is wonderful. Thank you so much for watching, and we are very excited to have you back on the channel very soon, Sherry. But for now, it's been amazing speaking to you, and I look forward to a fantastic rest of the trip, and I hope you do too.
Likewise, buddy.
Cheers.
Thank you.
All right, wonderful. We're good.